Hi everyone, my name is Kristen and I'm going to be doing a second grade ELA reading comprehension lesson. This will be a sequencing lesson where the objective is for the student to be able to read a story and sequence the main events that occurred using the words first, next, and last. This lesson would be conducted in a one-to-one setting for a child with an IEP that has difficulty with memory and new information processing. For this lesson, the student and I would be sharing an iPad. First, we're going to review the key vocabulary terms for this lesson. Using this chart that I have made for easy access to help remember the key vocabulary terms, sequencing, first, next, and last. The student would have access for this chart throughout the lesson to use to help remember the key terms. As you see here, we have each term listed with its definition. Sequencing, first, next, and last. To sequence, you can use different tools to help us organize the main events of a story. Today, we are going to be using a sequencing chart for the story, The Three Little Pigs. We are going to use this chart to help us organize the events of the story. When it is time to use this, I will explain how we will do it. But first, we're going to watch the story of The Three Little Pigs. As we watch, I'm going to stop at different parts to go over the key events in the story. Are you guys ready to listen to the story of The Three Little Pigs? Here we go.
Once upon a time, there lived 3 piglets with their mother in a small house. It was time for them to leave their home and learn to live on their own. Their mother called the 3 piglets next to her. My dear children, the time has come for you to go out into the world. Go and start your new lives. But don't ever forget, whatever you do in this world, do the best you can. This is the only and the best way to stay alive. A little sad with a bit of excitement, the 3 little piglets said their goodbyes to their mummy and were on their way. After a while, they found some piece of land where they could build their own home. The youngest piglet was determined to build his home with straw. He thought this was the easiest and the fastest way to build a home. That way, he had heaps of time to play. The youngest of them all finished his house in one day. He yelled out to the other piglets, "Hey, you guys, I'm already finished!"
Okay, so as we see, the first little pig built a house out of straw. Can you repeat to me what happened first? The first little pig built his house out of straw. Okay, good listening.
The eldest piglet had a look at the house.
Okay, but this house doesn't look steady at all. How will we protect ourselves from the wolf?
The youngest piglet didn't take any notice of his brother. Don't worry, nothing will happen.
Okay, don't say I didn't warn you.
The middle piglet decided to make his house out of wood. From the branches he had collected in the woods, he decided to build a little cubby house. His house took exactly 3 days to finish. This house was a bit more steady than the one with straw. The eldest piglet walked over towards him.
Okay, now we see that the next little pig built his house out of wood. Can you repeat to me what the next little pig built his house out of? That's right, wood. Okay, let's continue.
My dear brother, you've done a great job, but this doesn't look safe at all. Is this house going to protect us from the wolf?
The middle piglet answered, "Don't worry, this house is very safe."
Okay, don't say I didn't warn you.
While the two little piglets were having a great time in their newly built homes, the eldest of them all was constantly working because he was building a home from bricks and rocks. The other piglets thought that his effort was useless. All they did was play around and kill time.
Okay, now we just saw that the last little pig built his house out of bricks. Can you tell me what the last little pig built his house out of? That's right, bricks. Okay, let's go on with the story.
Why would you bother with this when you can quickly finish like we have? Hey, how scared is he?
The eldest piglet didn't bother listening to them. He worked for 1 whole week and managed to finish his house made out of bricks and rocks. A day later, a hungry wolf arrived near their home. He first stood in front of the house made of straw. The little piglet was resting in his house made of straw. The wolf knocked on the door.
Okay, now we see that the big bad wolf came and he went to the house made out of straw first. Which house did the wolf go to first? That's right, he went to the house made of straw. Now let's see what's going to happen.
Open the door and let me in. If you don't, I'll huff and puff and blow your house in.
You can't do anything to me. My house is steady enough.
And so the wolf huffed and puffed, and he blew his house in. But with great effort, the little piglet managed to get away. And off he ran over to his brother's house, made from tree branches. He knocked on the door, and when the middle piglet opened the door, the little piglet threw himself inside the house.
Hey, close the door. The wolf can come in here.
Don't worry, he can't do anything to us in this house. After a while, the wolf came by the second piglet's wooden house and yelled inside.
Open the door and let me in. If you don't, I'll huff and puff and blow your house in.
Okay, so we see that next the wolf went to the house made out of tree branches. Where did the wolf go to next? That's right, the house made out of tree branches. Now, do you think the wolf is going to be able to blow down this house? Let's see.
You can't blow my house in.
And so the wolf huffed and puffed, and he blew his house in and brought it down. Both piglets ran to the third piglet's house and barely got away from the wolf.
Brother, the wolf is going this way. What are we going to do?
The oldest piglet answered, very sure of himself.
Don't worry. The wolf cannot come in this house.
A little later, the starving wolf came by the third piglet's house of bricks and stone and yelled to the 3 piglets.
Open the door and let me in. If you don't, I'll huff and puff and blow your house in.
Don't.
Finally, we see that the big bad wolf went to the house made out of bricks. Where did the wolf go to finally? That's right, he went to the house made of bricks. Do you think that he's going to be able to blow down a house of bricks now? Let's see.
Don't you even try, you bad wolf. You cannot come in this house.
The wolf got very angry. He huffed and puffed, but nothing happened. He could not bring his house down. He tried and tried, but he couldn't move one single brick. Finally, being exhausted, the wolf decided to try another way to go in. He saw the chimney up on the roof and started to climb. Realizing that the wolf was going to climb up on the roof and come down the chimney, the piglet quickly lit up the fireplace right under the chimney and put a big bucket of water on the woods. The wolf barely climbed up the chimney and threw himself in and went straight into the boiling bucket.
Oh, help! Help! I'm burning! Save me!
Finally, being free from the wolf, the piglets hugged each other with joy. The three piglets went to their mother's house the next day to tell her all that had happened. The youngest one came next to his mother.
You were right, Mummy. Whatever we did in this world, we have done it to our best. If you really work for something, it will be a success.
From that day on, the two piglets were never lazy. They worked hard like their big brother and lived a happy and safe life.
Wasn't that a great story? I think so too. Okay, as we watched that video, we saw that the first pig came and he built his house out of straw. Can you tell me what happened first in the story? That's right, the first pig came and built his house out of straw. Next, the second pig came and he built his house out of tree branches. Can you tell me what happened next in the story? That's right, the second pig came and he built his house out of tree branches. Finally in the story, the third pig came and he built his house out of bricks. Can you tell me what happened finally in the story? That's right, the third pig came and he built his house out of bricks. So after listening and watching that story, we learned that the first pig's house was able to be blown down by the pig because it was made out of straw. The next pig's house was also able to be blown down because it was made out of tree branches. But finally, the third pig built his house out of brick and it was not able to be blown down. So now we're going to use those three key main events in the story to organize them into a sequencing chart. Using the iPad, you're going to fill out this sequencing chart of the three little pigs. We have a spot here for first, next, and last. Now, we could do this a few different ways. We can use the photos to put in different pictures like straw to show that the first pig built his house out of straw. Or we could also type into the box what happened, and we can type in straw and we can put that into the box. Another way we can do this is that you can tell me what you want to put in the box and I can do it for you. But as you see, using this sequencing chart, it can help us to organize, put in order, the three main events of the story. So, thanks guys. That was my part of my lesson on sequencing for the three little pigs. I hope you enjoyed.